Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of At Dre's Table, the podcast. I am your host, Dre. Here, let me just move this a little bit. I decided to just sit in my comfortable spot. I was working from the dining room table today, so of course that's what you see in the background and things like that. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about a topic that sometimes can be a little bit uncomfortable. There might be some folks that can relate, and if you can, please, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. But there's something about the silent grief that one goes through when losing a job. Of course, I have my trusty little friend here. Isn't this a gorgeous glass? It's a glass of Merlot because I figured this is exactly what's needed for this type of conversation. At least it is for me. Here, let's take a sip together. It's actually a lovely Merlot that's from Aldi. Surprising, it's actually not bad. So the silent grief of losing a job. So just to provide a little context, this is episode 3 in the series that I'm working on. I guess which is going to be the heartbeat of what the podcast is about, is creating a very safe space where you can come, share ideas, discuss feelings, emotions, excitements about getting a job, the complexities of the interview process, which is going to be another topic of conversation we'll have at some point. But this one in particular is important to me because the grief of losing a job has a lot of complexities to it, right? I have some of my notes here, so I'm just going to read it. Just I don't forget. But losing a job is not just the loss of the financial component, right? It's not just that, we have to speak about, is there shame involved? What about the uncertainties of the future? It's like the emotional experience that one goes through. And I can only, share what I went through, which for me, the way it happened was really, really fast. Really not that fast, but when you first learn that you're losing your role, and for me, it was fight or flight, right? You go into these emotions like, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? What's going to happen? What's not going to happen? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Sound familiar to anybody? So you start to really think about, what are you going to do and how are you going to do it, right? Okay, cool. So I'm just going to tell you what I did. And I'm still going through it because I think this is week 6, 5, 6, since my separation. And I'll tell you, you go through the motions, you start to feel, wow, there's a sense of worthlessness that tends to come, that pops up. Then maybe just a little bit of shame, like, I can't believe this happened to me. And this is where I just want to share, you've got to be super careful because it's that roller coaster effect of the ups and the downs, the ebbs and the flows of one minute you're like, it's going to be perfect. The next minute you find yourself, you're in tears and you're crying just because, for me, I put almost 10 years into that company and then was treated like a piece of garbage in the very end. Of course, these are just my opinions, of course. This is from my perspective. So just go with the flow with me, if you will. And I didn't know. I honest to God, when it happened, when the layoffs first happened for COVID, the last day was January 1st, 2021, right? So they gave us a little bit of time to adjust, which I honestly think was like maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't even remember back then. And, that, of course, it was the COVID times, right? There really wasn't much anybody could do. It was just you had to go with the flow. You had to figure some things out. And we did what we had to do, right? Thankfully, there was savings, there was this, there was that. We had a lot more in our savings than we currently do. The economy is what it is. There are some folks who are benefiting from it. There are some folks who are not benefiting from it. If you look at the jobs report, or at least what we constantly hear in the news or on different feeds, is that thousands and thousands of jobs are being lost right now. I forgot who it was that laid off 30,000 people via email. So again, there's that emotional aspect, forget the financial, because if you don't have a plan, thank the Lord that I had something to hold me. And, it's not going to last forever. So, of course, we're looking, we're doing. But I think what this scenario taught me, and maybe some of you might feel the same way, is that I think I mentioned this in yesterday's episode or in episode 2, but sometimes life happens for you. Things are supposed to happen so that you open your eyes and maybe take a step into a level of discomfort so that you can actually do what you want to do. And, again, it's not for everybody. It really isn't. Not everybody can cope. I get the question all the time, how are you managing it? How have you not lost your mind? Well, I wouldn't say that I haven't lost my mind. I've lost it a little bit. Well, then again, it was never really there to begin with. But sometimes you just have to realize that, you know what? You're destined for greatness. And through that, you start to figure out what it is that you need to do. For me, as I do the search, because listen, the job search is not easy, y'all. You're constantly updating the resume. You're changing things to qualify for roles. You've got the ATS system, which is the automatic tracking system, that pretty much, if you don't have certain keywords in there, I think your resume is just automatically rejected. I can tell you I have a tracking sheet. I did an Excel spreadsheet to track how many roles I applied for, how many are pending, how many conversations I've had with recruiters or with an HR person. And then the rejections are just there. They come. So you can't let that stop you, though. I think if it was the old me from my 20s and 30s, but now that I'm 50, I see it very differently. I see it as, okay, cool, next. Let's move on. Don't let it bother you. Honest to God, don't let it bother you. Now, if you're in a massive state of panic because you have no finances, your funds are limited, then, of course, it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. You're going to figure things out. Okay, excuse the line. You're going to figure shit out really, really fast. But I'm going to tell you something else that I learned. After the separation, people who, quote unquote, oh, I'm your friend, I'm your friend, I'm your friend, vanish off the face of the earth. When things went down, and, I of course, my Booski is she was the second person I told. She might have been the first, about what was happening and stuff like that. You learn really quickly who your real friends are. And again, that's all a part of the emotional toll of when you lose your job. I hear it all the time. Oh, this company is my family. If you didn't get that, company is not your family. You develop some friendships that can be long lasting, and I have a few of those, and I'm super grateful for them. But the company is not your family. Because the moment something goes down, they have no qualms about saying, peace out, we're going to part ways. So no, companies are really not your family. Some of the people may become part of your family, but a company is definitely not part of your family. Because at the end of the day, once you're gone, or once things change, or when they reorganize or they restructure, guess what? They're still going to fill roles. They're still going to do things, because why? It has to be done. It's a corporation, and they have rules to abide by. So, again, part of that emotional roller coaster, you really start to learn what you allow in and what you purposefully push away, so that way you protect your peace. I can't emphasize that enough. You have to learn. I will tell you, when I do get messages on a daily basis from some folks, and they're like, hey, I think what I'm grateful for the most is that those who have been reaching out have actually been connecting me with recruiters who are their friends. They've been connecting me to individual leaders of HR. I've had some incredible conversations. Some folks were like, that you were undervalued where you were. And, and it's through those conversations where you learn what your self-worth is. You learn what you're truly capable of. I guess I didn't realize the skill set that I have, because when you're on autopilot, when you do your day-to-day job, you get used to it, you do these things, you start to be like, oh, this is awesome, I can solve this problem, I can solve that problem. I was on autopilot, I'm not going to lie to you. But through these fun conversations, because normally I would get nervous. I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to speak to a recruit. I've actually had really great conversations. I have a follow up one. And again, if I hadn't allowed myself to go through the motions, and I think I mentioned that in the other, a different episode, but you have to allow yourself the grace to go through it. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to laugh, laugh. If you want to tell them where to go tell them where to go. It's okay. But you've got to allow yourself to do it. You have to allow yourself to just feel it. Don't think anything less of yourself, because just because you're out of work doesn't mean that you're not worthy and that you have greatness that's waiting for you. So just remember that it's okay. It's okay. Allow yourself to feel it. Allow yourself to go through the motions. That uncertainty, y'all, it's a daily thing. It is a daily thing. The one thing I'm gonna leave you with this. I did ask several family members and people to stop asking me, so how's the job search going? You don't have to ask me that. It's a process. It's not easy. It's not fun. So don't ask. And it's okay to put that boundary up with people. I did have to do it with a few folks. I said, stop asking me. I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted. But believe in yourself. Do those manifestations. We're going to talk about what manifesting is and how to do it. A preview is we're going to talk about what solfeggio frequencies are. If you know nothing about them, there's an app called Insight Timer. There's the Wake. I think it's called Wake or Wave. I don't remember. It's another app. I live on Insight Timer. I listen to it every single day. I do the free version. You can pay for the paid if you like. It's entirely up to you. But find the things that bring you peace and joy. Because again, you're going to have those moments. You're going to flip out. You're going to look at your bank account and be like, how do I make this work? How do you do it? You have to believe that you're going to make it work. You have got to keep that belief. Do not let anything stop you from believing that you're going to make it. Because the moment you let that doubt in, it takes over. And you will not allow yourself to go down that rabbit hole. Do you hear me? Do not allow yourself to go down that rabbit hole. Believe in yourself. Protect your peace. And make sure that you are living your truth. And follow your heart. If you find something fun, listen, I just started the TikTok shop thing. I did my very first video. I had a blast. You know, if I make money on it, which I'm sure I will, I think I already got 1 or 2 sales. But it's the whole point. Try new things. Figure things out. It's 2026. And if we don't figure it out for ourselves, no one's going to do it for us. So I love you guys. Thank you for listening. Please make sure you like, comment, and share this out with some folks, especially if you know somebody that's going through a hard time that may just need to hear another person's point of view. It's important, and I'm grateful for the people that I have who are in similar situations that I've connected with, because it's made all the difference in the world. So I love you guys, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye.